Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. I'm Natalia Moczulska, and this is the news. Yesterday, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz said he hoped to formally welcome Finland and Sweden as NATO members by the next summit of the alliance in July 2023. Regarding ongoing talks on Poland's request to move Patriot systems offered by Germany to Ukraine, NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg said that it was too early to make conclusions. Speaking alongside NATO Chief Jens Stoltenberg, Scholz emphasized Germany's commitment to the alliance in the face of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Russia cannot and will not win this war. It also remains clear, and we stand by this, that NATO will not itself become a war party, as this would lead to an escalation with unforeseeable consequences for the entire planet. Sweden and Finland applied to join NATO in May in response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. By the next NATO summit, I hope that we can also formally greet Finland and Sweden as new NATO members, in line with what we all decided together in Madrid. The Nord Stream pipeline attacks showed that we must completely reevaluate the safety of our energy infrastructure. This is particularly applicable in the North Sea. This is where we want to take action together with our allies and partners.
Then there is an ongoing dialogue and also a process in Poland, so I think it's too early to conclude. And I also think it is important to separate the discussion about those three Patriots which Germany has offered to help to protect Polish airspace from the issue of more air defense to Ukraine. We all agree on the urgent need to help Ukraine, including with air defense systems. Allies are prepared to step up and provide even more air defense to Ukraine. But I also think it is important to understand that this is not only about delivering new systems, but very much also about ensuring that the systems we have already delivered can operate.
President Joe Biden, during French President Emmanuel Macron's visit to the U.S., said he was ready to meet with Putin if he wanted to end the war. In turn, President Macron said Ukrainians should decide for themselves on what terms the war will end.
Look, there's one way for this war to end, the rational way. Putin to pull out of Ukraine, number one. But it appears he's not going to do that. He's paying a very heavy price for failing to do it, but he's inflicting incredible carnage on the civilian population of Ukraine, bombing nurseries, hospitals, children's homes. It's sick what he's doing. But the fact of the matter is, I have no immediate plans to contact Mr. Putin. Mr. Putin is, let me choose my words very carefully. I'm prepared to speak with Mr. Putin if, in fact, there is an interest in him deciding he's looking for a way to end the war. He hasn't done that yet. If that's the case, in consultation with my French and my NATO friends, I'll be happy to sit down with Putin to see what he has in mind. He hasn't done that yet. In the meantime, I think it's absolutely critical what Emmanuel said. We must support the Ukrainian people. The idea that Putin is ever going to defeat Ukraine is beyond comprehension.
Our two nations are made of values and history. And what is at stake in Ukraine is not just very far from here, in a small country somewhere in Europe, but it's about our values, and it's about our principles. And it's about what we agreed together in the UN Charter, protecting sovereignty, in territorial integrity. And this is why I do believe that having the US strongly supporting the Ukrainians in that time is very important, not just for the Ukrainians. For the Europeans, we are. This is why we do thank you for this solidarity. But for the stability of our world today. Because if we consider that we can abandon the country and abandon the full respect of these principles, it means that there is no possible stability in this world. Let me tell you that we will never urge the Ukrainians to make a compromise which will not be acceptable for them. Because they are so brave and they defend precisely their lives, their nation, and our principles. And because it will never build a sustainable peace. If we want a sustainable peace, we have to respect the Ukrainians to decide the moment and the conditions in which they will negotiate about their territory and their future.
Biden is hosting Macron at the first state visit since the U.S. leader took office in early 2021. In a joint statement issued after their Oval Office talks, the two leaders said they were committed to holding Russia to account for widely documented atrocities and war crimes, committed both by its regular armed forces and by its proxies in Ukraine. U.S. President Joe Biden rolled out the red carpet for celebrities, lawmakers, and titans of the industry at the White House's first state dinner in honor of French President Emmanuel Macron. The guest list included singer John Legend and model Chrissy Teigen, Vogue editor Anna Wintour, and director Baz Luhrmann. Those celebrities joined members of Biden's cabinet, lawmakers, and business leaders, including Apple Incorporation boss Tim Cook.
You know, I think for the two of us, we just want to take in this moment, and it is such an honor that I get to represent the president, and so just being asked to be here, we're just very excited. We don't know what to expect. Walking in, my niece said, "This feels like Bridgerton." So we're not sure what to expect.
Biden and his wife, Jill, greeted Macron and his wife, Bridget, with hugs, kisses, and broad smiles as they celebrated more than 200 years of U.S.-French relations. President Biden and President Macron have had many meetings at international gatherings, but this was the longest time they have spent together. The dinner is the crowning social event of a trip aimed at showing Biden's commitment to Washington's oldest ally, even as the two countries wrangle over how to handle Russia's war in Ukraine, subsidies for U.S. products, and other issues.
Good evening, everyone. Jill and I are honored. We're truly honored to welcome you all to the first state dinner that the President and the First Lady of the United States have been able to have because of COVID. And we couldn't have had a better guest than the President of France and the First Lady of France. Tonight, we celebrate the enduring alliance between France and the United States, a partnership that's marked by so many firsts. France was our first ally, first country to fly the American flag after our revolution. And Frank hosted the first diplomatic post before, more than anything else, France has been our first friend. Today, we're still united by the greatest of causes: democracy, liberty, equality, opportunity, and freedom. We stand together against oppression and injustice. We stick up for one another and our democratic values to which Washington and Lafayette dedicated their lives. And we still strive to build a world that's worthy of our highest hopes and of our future, knowing that we can always, always count on one another as allies and friends. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me. Please join me in raising our glasses, which neither one of us have. There you go. In raising our glasses. To President Macron and his wife Brigitte, to France, ladies and gentlemen, to the history that binds us and the values that still unite us, and to the future we're going to forge together. Vive la France and God bless America.
Macron added that the two countries come from the same values of we the people.
You perfectly describe the challenges we have in front of us. And I will not repeat what several times, and this morning in the wonderful celebration you organized, what we told both of us. We come from the same values. I stole during this long row to Judge Breyer's this Constitution of the United States. We the people, we the people. And when Lafayette came here, indeed, to fight, he fought for these principles and to have people here living in democracy and freedom. And this is the same thing in my country. And when these principles were at risk in my country, you came and did the same.
Finally, more about cultural differences in the context of fans' joy after winning a match. The whole world is excited about the World Cup in Qatar. This is an opportunity to see how different nations are enjoying themselves.
First after a win over Belgium, then after a match against Canada that gave the Moroccans victory in Group F and their first advance to the 1/8 of the World Cup finals in 36 years. Thousands of young Belgians of Moroccan origin staged a real Armageddon in Brussels. They burned and destroyed everything that stood in their way. Police had to use water cannons. Meanwhile, the Japanese, after their victorious matches against Germany and yesterday against Spain, were so happy that they cleaned up the stadium. They collected plastic bottles and food wrappers into bags. In Japan, taking care of cleanliness is an important part of the culture, which is instilled in them from a very young age.
Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Please stay tuned for Poland Daily Weather, Poland Daily Business, and some of our other programs. But from me, it's have a wonderful weekend.